We measure to the gram. We time to the second. And we just trust the kettle. But one of the things that we don't do at all is actually see how accurate this thing is. But the thing about it is that this kettle lies to us all the time. The kettle isn't broken. It's inconsistent. If that person is telling you to do something, question it. We measure to the gram. We time to the second. And we just trust the kettle. I did an experiment a couple of weeks now. And I just wanted to see. How much we can truly, really trust everything that we do in coffee. Like I mentioned earlier, we measure, we time, our pour technique, our recipes, we grind coffee, we do all that good stuff. We know what that's going to do to the coffee, right? But one of the things that we don't do at all is actually see how accurate this thing is. And it may seem like I'm picking on Fellow because I'm really not. But I tried it with this device right here. This Fellow Pro Stagg 2, whatever it's called. Their top of the line kettle. Love it. Still my favorite kettle. But I just wanted to see how accurate the temperatures were. I used 2 thermometers. One was a cheap one. It was about $10, $12. And then another one that I have about $60, $70. Used for cooking, used for barbecue and whatnot. And I boiled water at 200 degrees Fahrenheit. About 300 grams inside the kettle. 205. Wait a couple seconds, 207. Filled it up more to 800, 900 grams of water, which is the max that you're supposed to put in this actual device. 204, 205. Same type of thing. I let it get comfortable. It was still way above the 200 degrees Fahrenheit realm. And it got me thinking, wow, this is one thing that we trust blindly. We don't really think about it. We turn the knob. It goes to some temperature. We pour our coffee. And that's it. We start to think about things to blame. Because it's not our fault, right? We don't even think about this thing at all. Think about the coffee. Think about the grind size. Think about whatever else that we want to blame for our coffee not tasting right. Or that person online giving us a recipe or whatnot. But the thing about it is that this kettle lies to us all the time. And we don't even think to judge it, to question it, to think that this thing was going to be right all the time. It was one of the reasons why I went ahead and got a new kettle. This kettle from the Bonavita, because I knew that it had mood swings, temperature swings. So I thought that this one would be a little bit more accurate. But I'm not gonna lie, it's beautiful. The handle's perfect. The look and feel of it is perfect. The spout is the best in the business. I like the way that the machine turns on, turns off. Easy dial to do the temperature. It's really a nice premium device. And as I thought about that and was a little bit shocked, I really wasn't mad about the whole situation. it was more so that now we can be honest with ourselves when it comes to this stuff. We can be better about engaging what we're doing with this whole coffee thing. And it's one of the many variables that we don't think about, but it's one variable that is extremely important in all of this. So now we understand what's actually happening in here. Why? Not so much why that the temperature is not accurate, but it's letting us know that the temperature is not accurate. So whenever we do a recipe, we have to take that into consideration. Lately, I just been leaving at 200 degrees. Sometimes I go down to 195. But one thing that I've noticed or realized with this whole thing is that if you're trying to see that dramatic difference in the temperature, you're probably going to have to go all the way down to 190 to 200 to 205 to see if there's a big difference in the taste and flavor of your coffee. That's like knowing your gear. That's like figuring things out, because now we have more information to really geek out about the things that we're dealing with. And one of the other things that I realized with this situation in particular is that everything that we deal with has pros and cons. Most of it is pros, but the con, of course, which is a big one, is that it has temperature swings. It's not accurate when you put it in. And that's one thing that we don't realize too. Whenever somebody gives us a recipe, they say 200 degrees, how much water did they actually have in the kettle? What type of water were they using? Does that have an effect on it? I mean, trust me, we can geek out, go deep into the rabbit hole because we're already there. But it's one of those things to where now there's just more information that we can use in order to make the best sound decision. Let's talk about pros and cons again. I'll give you a non-related coffee, but kind of the same situation example. I barbecue on a weekend. And when I barbecue, I have different smokers, I have different grills and all that stuff. And one of the grills that I have is called an offset smoker. It's really big. It does a good job. But when you actually look at it for what it is, it has a firebox on the side that stays extremely hot. And then it has a cooking area where that air and that heat flows through it through a draw. It's an amazing device. It's an amazing way that you can actually make barbecue that way. And it has a chimney to exit out. Many manufacturers, they try their best to get it as evenly as possible. Some of them tell you different techniques of how to actually run it and all that good stuff. But when you really look at the device for what it is, it has its drawbacks. It has its flaws. It has inconsistencies that you have to deal with. And the more information that you do know about the pros and cons about it, that's how you can use it to your advantage. Like sometimes in the cook, depending on the actual meat and what I'm trying to do, I know that even though in the front of the actual cooking chamber, it's a little bit hotter. Sometimes I'll move it there to kind of get that heat at first. Give me a nice crust, depending on whatever hell I'm cooking. And then later on in the roast or the cooking process, I may move it back. I may turn it. I may do different things here and there. I may play around with just the firebox, playing with airflow, leaving the whole chimney stack open so I can have constant flow. Play around with the cold area, the hot spot, and all that good stuff. I'm not explaining it correctly, but the point is that it's not perfect. You can't really grill on it. Sometimes I really don't like steak on it. Sometimes I just like a regular kettle because it does a really good job of intensifying that smoke and cooking the steak very relatively quickly. But it has drawbacks. It has things that I don't like about it. Same thing with this kettle right here. Like I said, 9 times out of 10, it's exactly what I need and want and all that stuff. I actually retired my Hario kettle just because this spout is just as good to use compared to that spout. And that spout is legendary to me. But I guess one of the biggest things that I'm trying to get you to understand really is that the kettle isn't broken. It's inconsistent. It lies all the time. Just like anything and everything else that we deal with. It truly, really does. But the biggest eye-opener thing about this is that we are aware of that. We can understand the things that we're trying to do with coffee even more so, because now we know the disadvantages of it, things that we can do in order to mitigate those situations. As I explained earlier, like if you're really trying to see a big swing in temperature, you probably want to go ahead and brew your coffee at 190, because it's going to not be at 190. It's probably going to be like at 195. And then 202, 203, where you can get that other extreme. Those are the things that we can do in order to understand our coffee even more so. Same thing with the grinder. Not all grinders are created equal. I have 4 hand grinders. They all have their pros and cons. As long as we can maneuver around that, we can still be able to create the best coffees that we can on other devices. Are they perfect? No, they're not. Are some of them gimmicky? Yeah. I still question what you would need like a mellow drip for, or even a booster. I'm starting to come around to the fast paper thing, because you can manipulate grind size in order to bring out different things in coffee, light, medium, and dark. I'm starting to understand that through these disadvantages and advantages through the gear that we have, is that we can truly, really be one with the coffee. So I needed this experiment. I didn't know what I was going to get out of it. But again, I'm not mad at this device right here. I'm truly not. It's just letting me know that I need to pay attention to it. It lets me know that whatever I do with that input, it's not going to give me exactly the output that I need and want. So I have to manipulate it. I need to change it. I need to do all that good stuff. And the other big thing here is that goes for you too. No matter what somebody else says to you, it doesn't matter. It's your coffee. I've been saying that lately. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you care about. Quite frankly, it doesn't matter. You do. You care about it. But I am saying that you need to care and pay attention to all the things that you're doing. If that person is telling you to do something, question it. If you're wondering why your coffee is not tasting the way it's tasting, question it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But do know why this thing is doing what it's doing. And manipulate, control, understand, and enjoy your coffee the best way that you know how, with the gear that you do have. That's really what I'm saying here. So, is this the best kettle out there? I do think so. I think it's still one of the best kettles out there. There are other ones that are just right behind it. They're coming along. They're doing pretty good. And again, I love mostly everything about this kettle. Even sometimes the finickiness of the actual device when it comes to the display, but also the inconsistency of the temperatures. But again, we can use that to our advantage. We can figure out how we can do what we want to do with our coffee. You know? Because now we know. Now we understand. Now we know that if we measure a couple grams here and there, is that going to make that big of a difference? More than likely not. Probably the ratio is where we need to be in order to manipulate to see what works for that particular coffee. What about the time? Does that matter? How much does it really matter? I'm not saying you don't give a shit or care. But if your brew is 2 minutes and 40 seconds, think about that coffee too. Ask yourself how it's tasting. And when you do that, you're going to get a lot closer to enjoying your coffee. They speak to you differently all the time. We just have to stay there and pay attention. So, we care about our time when we're brewing the coffee. We care about how much grams we're using for the coffee and the amount of water. We should also care about the temperature and what that's really saying. And if it's accurate, and if it's not, how can we actually adjust in order to bring out the best? That's all we're doing. Just try to question it all. Because if you do, you're going to be in a better place. But remember, it's all about that coffee too. Where it's grown, the processing, what that roaster did to it. You know? Let me know what you think. Have you thought about the trusty old kettle before? Have you questioned it before? Have you done a quick little experiment of putting a thermometer, 1 or 2 different ones in there to see if it really works? Probably the thermometers aren't right. I don't know. But I guess what I'm saying, have you questioned your coffee protocol and your devices? Have you realized the pros, the cons, all that good stuff? Does it matter to you? It may not. It may be. It may be the missing link in you to really be more consistent with enjoying your coffee. Let me know what you think. I'll talk to you later. Bye.